Julia from Julia Teaching Resources, and thank you so much for joining me in this little video. I get a lot of requests about writing about music because it's one of those things. I know many years ago when, like I've been teaching a long time, and let's face it, if you've been around a while, you would have seen quite a few things that go round and round and round and they come back around. But one of the things that's never really gone away is writing about music. And what I mean by that is you'll find that you're probably part of a school and there might be some sort of literacy focus, and they will often come up with some sort of thing that everybody in the school has to do. And I know that's happened to me several times in my career. And that's half the reason why I actually started on Teachers Pay Teachers, because I could never find what I was looking for. They wanted the school to be able to do all this paragraph writing. Now, I have done Peel and I have done T.X.X.C, which I'm going to talk about tonight. My current school's changed it to T.X.X.L, so if I muck up or mix it up, forgive me. But that's part of the reason why I actually do what I'm doing. Okay, so this is why I'm going to take you through this tonight, because I needed to be able to do this myself with my kids. But the thing is, once I learned how to do it myself and with my own kids, they really started to improve musically, not just literacy wise. Of course, that was an added benefit for the kids. You know, we have to do these things. But I tell you what, it was a big benefit in terms of what my kids were able to understand. And it really did show me what they did understand with what I was teaching. And it really changed the way I taught for ever since, basically. So for many years, I've been doing this. So I will share my screen and we will I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do quite a few things tonight. This will be a longer one. You should be able to see my screen, and let me just go slideshow, come on. So we're going to be talking about writing about music, and more specifically the T.X.X.C paragraph writing template. Now that seems to be the one that most schools use. Now I have to tell you, no matter which one you're using, they all come under the same things. There might be slightly different headings for each part of the paragraph, but it's the same process. I prefer to use music, which is one I developed for my own students, and I found that actually much easier for my kids. But again, as I said, T.X.X.C, or what my school's doing at the moment, T.X.X.L, is something that's been a focus nearly everywhere, and I get a lot of requests on how to do this. So that's why we're doing this tonight. So welcome. I'll quickly tell you what the 8 elements of music are. I'll give you some steps to write about a paragraph. I'll give you the parts of the T.X.X.C paragraph, and then I'm going to actually do a writing demonstration. So you'll see me actually doing this, and this is how I would teach it to my own children and my own classes, and this is how I do teach it to my own classes. And then I'll give you some suggested resources to use, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. As I said, I went looking for stuff and it didn't exist. And that's why I ended up with stuff on my Teachers Pay Teacher store, or why I ended up with a store in the first place. So let's get this going. All right. So the 8 elements of music are in alphabetical order this way: dynamics, form or structure, harmony, melody, rhythm, texture, timbre, and tonality. And as I've said before, and you can see me behind me, I've got the concepts of music. That's what I teach in my state. It's all the same stuff. Okay, but if I say structure, it means form, and for me, pitch means melody, harmony, and tonality. Timbre I refer to as tone color, and rhythm I often refer to as duration. So a lot of those terms are interchangeable. Essentially, they're the same thing. Okay, it's just different names for different things. So firstly, when you're starting to do paragraph writing or starting a piece of music or anything, you need to just choose an element of music that you're going to start with. Doesn't matter which one you choose, where you want to choose. It's a bit like it just doesn't matter what part of the wheel you want to start on. Just choose one. Might be the bit that you're more comfortable with. If you're a drummer, for example, you might want to choose rhythm, because that's something you're more comfortable with. If you're I don't know, it really doesn't matter. Choose any of them. It doesn't matter. So the next thing is, once you've chosen an element of music to start with, or a concept of music to start with, choose a piece of music that you're going to study. So at the moment with my stage 5 classes, which is my 9s and 10s, we're actually looking at rock and pop music, you know, the kings and queens of rock and pop. that unit's available in my store. And so last week or the week before we looked at the Beatles. This week we've been looking at Aretha Franklin, and next week I can't remember who we're doing, but we're looking at those different things. Now with my year 7s, for example, we're looking at Fats Domino at the moment. We move on to Bill Haley in the Comets shortly, but it doesn't matter. Just choose a piece of music, whatever you're studying, whatever concept you're studying, whatever element you're studying, whatever style you're studying, just choose a piece of music. Really doesn't matter, okay? But before you teach, one of the things you should do is make sure that your kids know the terms. Alrighty, so depending on how deep you want to go into these, now with my 9s and 10s, I actually I'll tell them, give them all the terms, obviously 11 and 12 as well. My year 7 and 8s, no, we don't do as much. I give them just enough as what they need. They don't have to know every single term because we develop those skills as we go. Alrighty, so choose a term, choose an element, make sure they know their terminology, at least enough so that you can apply it and they know what they're listening for. Then choose the elements of music listening worksheets. Now, these were particular worksheets that you can see here. If you're looking in the bundle, you can buy these separately, but choose a different one. So you might be doing performing media or timbre. If you've chosen a piece of music, then choose the piece, chosen a worksheet, choose a piece of music. Now, here's the other thing. Now, I haven't got them actually with me, but with my 9s and 10s, I've got a lot of students. One of the best things about these worksheets, I should say, there's different levels. So you can see here, worksheet 1 and worksheet 3 are just straight questions, and 2 and 4 are comparison ones. Start, obviously, don't do a comparison straight up. That will really freak the kids out straight away. But like question 1, worksheet 1, questions are a bit easier than worksheet 3. Okay, so if you need to, you can differentiate using those as well. But once you've chosen the worksheet, choose the piece of music, as I said before. And then once you've chosen your piece of music, listen to the music and answer the questions. And repeat this as much as you actually need to. Now, again, depending on when you've been teaching this and how long you've been teaching this, I would suggest you always do this as a whole class activity first. Then maybe move to small group activity. And then move on to doing it again with a different piece of music each time, moving it to independent. So then you can start doing, like, seeing how well they're doing on their own independently. So you could do it actually as assessment, but always start as teach them firstly how to do it, just like I'm going to do in this video. Do this with your classes. Do the whole thing together. It is long. It is quite laborious, but I tell you what, it does make a big difference at the end because everybody should be on the same page, so to speak, so that they're actually at least got the same information. Then discuss your thing, as I said, as a whole class or even in small groups, as I just talked about. I jumped ahead there, sorry. But discuss your answers. So again, depending on what element of music you're using and what worksheets you're using. And then keep listening if you need to. So if there's gaps or they're not sure about something, listen again. I'll often go and they'll say, oh, I heard such and such, miss. And I was like, oh, I don't think I heard that. And we'll go back to the music and we'll listen and we'll go, you're actually right. Or it's like, oh, actually what you're hearing there is such and such. So you can just correct at the time and point of need. Right. So this next part is the T.X.X.C paragraph, what it means and what it stands for. Now, I'm going to send this out as a freebie. I'm going to put this as a freebie in my store. If you're looking for this particular poster. Okay. I'm going to put out with the Peel one. So if you're looking and watching this after it's been released, which is the end of August, then please go over to my Teachers Pay Teacher store to download this freebie, because I'm going to have them both there, the T.X.X.C as well as the Peel one. Okay, so T.X.X.C stands for topic sentence, extend, explain, example, and conclude or connect. I like connect better than conclude. Now, the reason these colors are here, I'll tell you why. I've been doing this sort of stuff with my kids at school, and I'm actually teaching staff how to do this as well. But the thing is, someone decided a while ago that we needed to be able to get the kids to do activities with it. So they literally went over to Kmart and had a look at the packs of highlighters that you get, that, you know, in Kmart. They're not very expensive. I'm not supported by Kmart or anything at all. But the thing is, this is why we've actually got these colors, and honestly, I quite like it. So that's why the topic and the conclude and connect is the same color, because they should be connected somehow, and then the extend, explain, example. So we can actually break up the paragraph quite easily. So if you're giving the students a piece of writing that you've already done, you can actually get them to highlight what parts of the paragraph so they can actually start to see that themselves. Or when they're actually looking at their own writing, highlighting the different sections or someone else's writing. But that's literally why those colors are there, the yellow, the pink, the orange, the green, and again, that yellow, because that was the colors in the highlighter pack in Kmart. Sorry, but that's why. Okay, so let's keep going. So we're going to actually look at melody. I just chose melody because I could. And again, I've been doing Aretha Franklin. That's why we are going to do this particular song by Aretha Franklin, A Say a Little Prayer for You by her. And the style of music is soul. So you can see there that the top of these things, now this actual worksheet here is slightly different to the ones I was just showing you, because this is the one that's actually out of the T.X.X.C Elements of Music writing paragraph templates. Now this is part of the Elements of Music listening bundle. Okay, so it's the best way to get it because you've got everything that you need in there to help you. And again, these were developed because I literally needed them myself to be able to use in class with my own kids. So they're the first things I get the kids to do, is simply write the name of a piece of music, who is the performer or the composer if it happens to be that, and what style of music is it. So soul. Right. Then we go through the questions. What instrument performs melody? Now, I will always go through those questions before we listen to anything as well. So I would have actually talked about what all these meant before we listened. So make sure you do that. So we've got the female vocalist sings the melody. Is the melody mainly conjunct or disjunct, which is question 2. And it's mostly conjunct, but has several large leaps that make it disjunct, especially in the chorus. Getting specific. Question 3 is, what is the range of the melody? And the range of the melody is just over an octave. The register of the melody is question 4. The register of the melody is low treble. And number 5 was, is there any use of ornamentation? If so, what type and in what section? So there's use of ascending vocal slides into notes, as heard in the lyric Up and Now. Wake up, put on my makeup. That's the ones I'm thinking. Say a little prayer for you. Sorry, I can't help it. These occur mostly at the end of a phrase. So you can see that I've been very specific. What was the ornamentation, as well as when it actually happened. Now, again, I would do that. We'd listen. I'd put on the music. We'd listen, answer a couple of questions, listen, answer a couple of questions, answer a couple of questions, keep going, and as many times as we needed. Now, a couple of hints. Now, you get this actual worksheet as well that you can see on the thing there. So once you've actually answered, you can do this and use this template to help you. Hints. Keep the listening questions up, because I always have it. I'm lucky in my classroom. I have a whiteboard that I'm displaying onto, that I'm projecting onto, and I have a separate one. And so I'll keep the questions put up on one, and then I'll actually put the do my writing on another board, so that they're actually there. And on my board that I'm writing, I've literally divided it, and I put all the answers down one side so that I can refer back to them. So the kids have got that. I always get the kids to write the answers as well, because we sometimes, sorry about that notification, sometimes, unfortunately, we don't always get time to do this whole process in one lesson. So it might take a couple of lessons, depending on all sorts of things. But keep the listening questions displayed so you can refer to them as you write. Use different colored pens for each part of the paragraph. Now, I know I just showed you with the highlighters. Obviously, those colors do not work well when you're writing on the board. So, you know, I find the black, sorry, there's a bug there. The black, the red, red, yellow, not black, red, green, blue. Yeah, they're the colors that I tend to use on the board, and we just keep changing colors, and I tell them what I'm doing. Okay, I'm writing this part of the paragraph now. Or have the students, as I said, highlight each part of the paragraph. And again, that poster uses the colors of the highlighters. Okay, that's why we're doing that. All right. But on this, you can actually see it tells you what you're supposed to do. So you can see there, we've got melody. So discuss the features of the melody in this music. So it says topic, introduce the melody and restate the question. Okay. Extend, give a short definition of what melody is. Explain the name of the song, the performer, and what style of music it is. So you've done 3 things very, very quickly. Then the examples are basically all your questions rewritten as a statement. Okay. And then your conclusion is connect it back to the actual question, which in this case will be discuss the features of the melody. All right. So you can see here we've got all this on the page. So I'm going to go out of this now so that you can still see here. So the main thing is our first thing, if I just grab, you can see there, it says introduce melody and restate the question. So the question was discuss the features of melody. Okay. I'm going to say the features of a melody is what makes it unique in each piece of, oops, and I'm bad typing, sorry, music. Restating the question in a little bit of there. So now we have to then define what melody is. Melody in music is defined as, as a series of pitches that form a tune. Okay, so we've just done the actual first part, which was your topic, features of melody. We just basically restated that. We've also just done the next part, which was the extend. We've defined that thing. Now we're going to explain the name of the music, the performer, and the style. Okay, so in the song, and I always put it in little brackety things, I say a little prayer for you. Oh, sorry, I spelled that wrong. Performed by Aretha Franklin. In the song, I say a little prayer for you. The melody has several stylistic features from the soul genre. Okay, because we're saying that the style of music or the genre of music is soul. It was interesting when I was actually looking at this and making sure I had some things right, that I didn't realize that this song was written by Burt Bacharach. Yeah, I know this song's been recorded by quite a few people, but it's like, oh, didn't realize that. Okay, so we have just then done what we just did then was explain, as I said, the name of the music, the performer, composer, and the style of music it is. Did it in one sentence. Bang, 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 done. The next thing is this part of the paragraph takes the next chunk of it. So this is the most, as far as I'm concerned, this is the most important part, is all the examples, all the specific information, okay, that is all about how that melody is actually used, and which is what all those questions are. So we are literally going to write those questions, and this is how I'd literally do it in the classroom, and say, the question is, what instrument performs the melody? Our answer was the female vocalist sings the melody. How can we make that a sentence? I literally will ask that question and say, how do we make that a sentence? And they go, oh, we need to do this. And you have that discussion. So pretending we're doing that. So the question is, what instrument performs the melody? And we've got the female vocalist sings the melody. The melody is sung, I don't know why, I think my M's going a bit silly on this keyboard. Melody is sung by the lead female vocalist. Okay, there's a sentence. All right. The next one, is the melody mainly conjunct or disjunct? Now we've got the answer here, mostly conjunct, but has several large leaps. So the melody is mainly conjunct in steps, but has several large leaps that make it, make it more disjunct, especially in the chorus. Now, you will find that most kids will just go, melody's conjunct, or the melody has steps, or skips, or leaps, or whatever it is. Fine, but as I said, try and get them to be more specific. Okay, you can see that that statement there is really quite specific. The melody is conjunct, defines it in steps, but has several large leaps that make it more disjunct. So that's already been that explanation. And it states where in the chorus. Okay. The next one is, what is the range of the melody? Okay. The range of the melody is just over an octave. Okay. We could say more to that, but we won't today. And I might actually, and I will often do this, do range and register together. The range of the melody is just over an octave, and the register is low treble. Okay, now the next part, is there use of ornamentation? If so, what type and in what section? Now, this is where kids get a little bit confused, because they will often start hearing, especially if you're just focusing on melody, all sorts of other things by other instruments, and you go, no, 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 we're just listening for that melody. That's all we're listening for. So there was lots of other things happening. There were like backing vocalists, and they were singing all sorts of other things, but I was just trying to focus just on what Aretha Franklin was actually singing. So is there any use of ornamentation? If so, what is? So there, you don't even have to use the word ornamentation. It's just the fancy parts. Okay. It's just, I use that as an, like I used to sort of say to my kids, imagine a Christmas tree. When it's just a Christmas tree, it's pretty boring, but put the ornaments on it, it makes it all pretty special. And it's a bit like that. You can have a melody, which is like a Christmas tree, which is maybe a bit boring, add the decorations, and it makes it more special, more unique. And that's what I try and sort of say to the kids. So I might say the lead, vocalist sings using a lot of slides into notes. Actually, lots of ascending slides, meaning it goes up, into notes as heard on the lyric up and now. These vocal slides occur mostly at the end of a phrase. And I'm going to add to this because this is a very specific technique to soul. Okay, these vocal slides occur mostly at the end of a phrase and are a particular technique. Oh, and I might say, and is a common technique. I might say that is a common technique heard in a lot of soul music. Okay, so we've actually just done now all of our examples. We talked about all those things that were those questions there are all of our examples. Now, the last thing is we could leave it like that, but we want to make it unique. And now what I always say to my kids is, okay, well, what do we, when we get to this part, we've got to connect it back to what is melody. And so I'll ask them, well, why is melody important in a piece of music? And it's like, you know, you get all sorts of weird answers. And I'll say, but why is it, what makes a melody in this song different to that one? And they go, oh, because they're different. Right. So melody is important, an important element of music because, and I'll literally start that. Melody, the use of melody in this song is an important feature because it makes the song unique and different to other versions of the same piece of music, because there are lots of versions out there. Okay, but it does make it unique. Alrighty, so what we've got now, if I go copy, and I'm going to, oops, let me just read that. Sorry, oh, my phone going off again. Sorry. Alrighty, so we've got all of the paragraph in there now. So if we just make that a little bit bigger for you. And do that because I like it all justified, because that's me. All right, so if we look here, we've got the topic. So introduce the main ideas. The main idea here was the feature of melody makes unique in a piece of music. All right, so that is our main idea. And I'm going to highlight that yellow because that's the bit we would highlight yellow. Okay, the melody is in music is defined as a series of pitches that forms a tune. And now that is our extend, because all we've done is extend on that piece of information about what a melody is. Our explain is in the song I Say a Little Prayer for You, performed by Aretha Franklin. The melody has several stylistic features from the soul genre. Now that is our explain, which is orange. Sorry, I can't make these slightly nicer colors. Now this whole next section is our example. That whole next section is your example, and that's the bit you actually want to see a lot of. You want to see a lot in the example. Alrighty, and then the last part there, the use of melody in this song, is our conclude or connect, because we've connected it back to what our topic was, and our topic was melody. Okay, the features of a melody is what makes it unique. And again, you can see the use of melody in this song is an important feature because it makes the song unique and different to other versions of the same piece of music. Okay, right, so let me just go to slideshow, current slide. So you can see there, we've taken what we had already, and we've made it quite an extended piece of writing from just those questions. You could have just left it at questions, but honestly, this is a much better way for kids to understand what they're doing. So I don't want you to reinvent the wheel because I had to. It's all in my Elements of Music bundle. Okay, this is the resources that I've got for you. So in this resource, you get all of these units, which is dynamics, harmony, melody, and rhythm, which I don't have next to me at the moment. And you also get then so we've got dynamics, harmony, melody, and listening, melody and rhythm. So we're using the melody one tonight. You also get the structure, texture, timbre, and tonality ones. Okay, plus what we were talking about tonight, you get the music listening and responding worksheets. There's 50 worksheets just in that one alone. Okay, then there's the 30 music writing prompts, which are again a nice little thing you can use. You got the peel paragraph writing templates, as well as the T.X.X.C one, which is the one we were using tonight. Okay, and you could obviously use the template. Obviously, I wasn't using it because it's much easier to me type in thing, but you could use the template and you can get the kids to divide their paragraph up and then write it again. I tend not to do that. I have it displayed so the kids can actually see, but then as long as they get the information. But honestly, this bundle is perfect for any piece of music, over and over and over and over again. You will use it all the time. I do. I use them all the time. Studying music styles and genres, so you can say pick soul music and you're looking at Aretha Franklin and James Brown, and I can't think of anyone else at the moment, and you go, okay, we're going to look at a few different things, a few different elements of music and how they're used, using them. They're perfect for listening, lesson differentiation. As I talked about, there's different levels of questions, music appreciation lessons and classes, assignments and assessments, and it's a lifelong teaching tool. So you can use this for years and years and years. You can grab your set, obviously, over at my Teachers Pay Teacher store, which is Julia Teaching Resources. Or if you prefer to save yourself even more money, get the Mega Bundle, which has got 43 resources. And it's got so much more, especially if you're focusing all of your teaching around the elements of music. So you can find plenty of classroom resources over at my Teachers Pay Teacher store. Don't forget, you can use the link in the description below to find or just search my store over in Teachers Pay Teachers. If you'd like a copy of the free Elements of Music mind maps, now I didn't show those tonight, but if you are looking at you can use that link there, juliajulia.com/free mind maps. You can get that. It's a good way to plan listening responses as well, because I use all those mind maps are all on my blog about each of the elements of music. I've got stacks of information there for free that talks about all of these elements of music. So you can send your kids there to actually go and research more about the elements of music there as well. And that is it. So let me just stop share. So the whole idea is tonight that I hope you've learnt some. This was not a short video. I'm not apologizing for that, because this is a long process. And honestly, when I teach this in the class, it takes a while to build up to this, because you've got to do your pre-teaching of all your vocab. Then you've actually got to have a few, lessons about getting that vocab going. Then teaching them and actually listening to a piece of music and responding and answering questions can take a while, depending on the class. But generally, if I'm answering the questions and writing a paragraph, that will take a full hour lesson with most classes. Some classes maybe a little bit longer. And in some classes, I'll break that up over 2 lessons, because they can't handle it all in one lesson, because that's a lot of focus from kids, especially if you're getting them to write it, because I get them to write as we go. Whatever I'm writing on the board, they have to write as well. You're getting my typing, luckily, than my writing, because my writing is terrible. But they you can actually see it this way. But again, it's just about the process. The process is the same for every single element of music, and I've done all the hard work for you if you just want to go and purchase that bundle over in my store. And until next time, I'm Julia from GU Teaching Resources, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.